Hello, my name is Zen and welcome to my Starfield review. I've put over 150 hours into Starfield and have explored most of, if not all, aspects of this game. So today what I want to do is break down the positive and negatives of this game so you can make an informed decision, if you have not already, on whether you should give Starfield a try. So with that in mind, let's get into it. Initially, one of the aspects that really captivated my attention was the level of details on items, as well as the level of detail of the spacesuits and the clothing. In Starfield, there are many items laying around in different buildings, and many of them can be picked up. The food items in particular look quite amazing, and the tin cans even have this polished shine look to them that draws your eyes right to them. Even the drink boxes look amazing. These items certainly play a part in telling you the idea that you are in space, and you're also in the future. From afar, the spacesuits and clothing don't look like anything special, but once you get close, you can really see the level of detail, and it is quite satisfying to see. Especially for a Bethesda game, which have never really been praised for having the best of graphics. It certainly is a welcome change, and hopefully one that can be carried over to the next iteration of the Elder Scrolls. With the upgrade of the creation engine, not only came the higher level of detail on particular items, but also with lighting effects that really stick out, and personally, I believe it's a massive change that really serves to improve the overall quality of the game. Now, despite these positive improvements, it quickly takes a back seat when you begin to realize that most of these items laying around are in fact mostly useless. Many of these items fall into the miscellaneous or miss category and have no practical value or use. Things like pans and pencils in previous Bethesda titles could be broken down from materials like lead and iron. With inventory in this game being such a chore to manage and use, you will find yourself ignoring them altogether because you can easily stop by a shop before you head back into the galaxy and stock up on whatever food or aid item you need. In Starfield, there are different factions within the game. There are two in particular that are the main ones, as they have the better questline and very nice rewards. You have the UC, which is the United Colonies, which have two different questlines. One is the main one through the Vanguard, and the other is when you assist SysDef with the Crimson Fleet problem. The third is the Freestar Collective questline that you can start in Aquila City. My personal favorite is the UC Vanguard, where you are tasked in figuring out who or what is behind a recent string of Terramorph attacks. That questline has a section in the beginning that gives you an information about the lore through a museum presentation, and I found myself listening to it in its entirety and wanting to understand the references that I've been hearing in the game. The reward for the faction questlines are quite good and unexpected. With regards to this, I suggest that you do the Freestar Collective questline first, as the rewards may be something that you will use for quite some time in the game. With the discussion of the questline, it is important to mention that if you would like to romance or increase your affinity with a companion, bring them along because dialogue plays a significant part in creating that bond. Starfield really improves upon the implementation of companions within the dialogue, as they can sometimes present themselves as an option to speak for you. The companions even have interesting things to say when you travel to a new planet or city, and will often comment on the ongoings within the game. While there is an improvement for the companions, they are not without drawbacks. The companions, while useful as mules or commentators, will sometimes lock you in conversations when they reach certain affinities, which can definitely be annoying when you are trying to trade them while out and about in the galaxy. They often cross right over your own line of fire, which can cause you to click on them mid-battle, and some of them will have quests that will be thrust upon you, and some of these quests will force you to have that particular companion until the quest is done, which is quite annoying and goes against the do whatever you want and go whatever you want motto. Companions can also get mad at you and leave entirely if you do something they don't like, which now causes you to now have to go back to the lodge, pick them up as a companion again, and make up for whatever they're mad about. All in all, having companions is a good double-edged sword. While they can provide benefits like being a pack mule or providing XP boost once you're married to them, they can also serve as a giant pain. I also can't forget to mention that there are rewarding random encounters that will pop up when traveling to new planets and systems. These are events where an NPC will ask you to deliver a package or give them spare ship parts or help them out in a battle. During these encounters, opportunities to use persuasion or traits may appear and can provide higher rewards for minimal effort. Now, if there is anything that can utterly ruin a game experience, it's performance issues and constant loading screens. Starfield has issues on both of these fronts. Now, if you have an SSD, the loading screens are barely an inconvenience as far as length is considered. However, in Starfield, the loading screens are like a torture method referred to as the death by 1,000 cuts. While loading screens are short, the length is not really the problem here, it's the amount of them. One short loading screen won't affect you, but when you have so many packed into a simple act of getting back to a planet or going to a new planet, it becomes extremely annoying. The real shame here is that Starfield does an excellent job to make you feel that you are in space with the different gravities, the amazing environment in space, and being able to fly within planets' orbits. Yet having these many loading screens and consistently being in the menus to do anything breaks the immersion, and it even deterred me from wanting to do quests at times because I knew the amount of loading screens involved. Performance in this game is extremely inconsistent. I'm on PC, and with my build I can usually play most games at 4K with 70 to 80 frames per second range with high or ultra settings. In Starfield, as soon as I got to New Atlantis or Aquila City, I experienced big drops in frames per second, seeing ranges of 30 to 40 frames per second. While in most of the areas in the game, I was ranging from 60 to 80 frames per second. The performance is inconsistent overall, and frankly, I'm not surprised considering that if you are on console, you are locked at 30 frames per second. This is very telling. Space exploration, or should I say lack thereof, is lackluster. You have the ability to build ships or use pre-built ones that the game sells you, but the extent of which you can use that ship to explore space is null and void. You actually don't use your ship to explore, rather, it is a scapegoat for the constant loading screens. In planets, you're meant to explore for settlements or resources. However, the place you can actually go to on the planets are procedurally generated, mixed in with some handcrafting. The problem here is that it's simply not good enough. In my over 150 hours of playing this game, I have been to the same locations multiple times, and this is a game that claims to have over 1,000 explorable planets and moons. I have seen the same cave with the dead explorers and the fossil they dug up. I have been to the same base with the Ecliptic or Crimson Fleet multiple times, and what's worse is that in some cases the spawn points don't even change. In a game where space exploration is the selling point, these problems cannot exist and only serve to suck you out of this immersion. Now is a great time to bring up the main quest of Starfield. The main quest entails you joining Constellation in the hunt for artifacts of unknown origins which have mysterious properties, and also tracking down temples which give you powers. I found myself detached from the main quest up until the very end where we learned some information, and then after that I got detached again. The main quest of Starfield is quite repetitive and honestly not very interesting, with the other faction quests being much more alluring than that. Getting to the temples will have you complete a minigame of sorts to get access to said power, and when you get out, there is also one enemy waiting for you outside at the same spot every time. There are 24 powers in the game, so you will have to do this 24 times, making it boring and repetitive. All of this is without consideration that you actually have to go into the New Game Plus in order to upgrade powers. There are 10 levels of the powers, so this means you will have to do this same boring gameplay loop of going to Vladimir to get the location of the temples, going to a new solar system, going to the planet's orbit, going to the anomaly site, running anywhere from 400 to 700 meters to the temple, do the boring mini quests or mini game, kill the single enemy that spawns every time. Now, if you wish to get all your powers to level 10, this means you're going to have to do New Game Plus 10. Then you will have to do this gameplay loop a whopping 240 times. Now I have timed how long it takes to complete the loop with fast traveling and being as quick as possible. That time has come out to be an average of 4 minutes and 41 seconds, but I will round it up to 5 minutes for simplicity's sake, as most people will not be as efficient in their gameplay. When you multiply that 5 minutes by 240, then you get about 1,200 minutes, or around 20 hours. So what this means is that doing the loop of getting to the temples to get to level 10 powers will take you in approximately 20 hours of the same boring tasks, which does not include getting the artifacts or finishing the main quest to progress into the New Game Plus. And yet you would think that's the worst part of it, but in fact it isn't. In fact, it is possible to get a bug, which I have experienced, in which Vladimir, the NPC that's supposed to give you the location of the temples to go and get the powers, actually stops giving them to you completely. I've had it happen to me on multiple New Game Plus variations, and many others are going through the same. The powers themselves aren't exactly worth it anyways, as most of them are lackluster and only 2 or 3 are actually useful. Most of the powers are really for niche situations. If you don't care about achievements, then I would suggest you skip the 20-hour grind by using console commands to get level 10 powers. Speaking of grinds, let's talk about leveling and skill perks. Initially, when I saw the skill tree, I was actually very interested. But as you level forth and explore the world, you begin to realize that leveling and skill points are quite dysfunctional. Many of the common and useful skills, such as lockpicking, stealth, and the simple use of jetpack, are all locked behind perk points. The real issue here isn't that they're locked, it's the fact that leveling to get skill points to level up the skill takes too long. See, every skill has 4 levels and 3 challenges within those levels to progress to the next level. So it's not merely enough to just allocate a point, you have to actually do a challenge to progress the next level and allocate a skill point. To max out these 3 skills that I just mentioned already requires 12 entire levels. 3 times 4, 12. The reality is that most side activities are skill locked. To research and unlock new upgrades for suits and weapons, you will need skill points. To set outposts on variable planets and unlock modules for them, you will need skill points. To be able to fly certain ships, you will need skill points. To unlock parts for your ships, you will need skill points. To unlock food items and meds to crafts, you will need skill points. To grow your outposts and make more links to other outposts, you will need skill points. To add more crew to your ship, do you need to make a bigger ship? Yes, but also skill points. To get better scanner zoom, do you get a better scanner? Nope, just add a skill point. You know that stealth meter indicator that every game with stealth has? Well, guess what? Skill point, please. In some cases, you need to get all 4 levels to even make a difference on that particular skill. And simply, it takes way too long, and I think increasing XP would make the experience drastically better. This does not include the fact that you may not want to play as that thing that you invested in, and you maybe want to go to a different style as you progress through New Game Plus. But unfortunately, there is no respec, so allocate those points wisely. Now to discuss what I consider to be the strongest feature in Starfield, shipbuilding. Shipbuilding is the most fun thing to do, and as we have seen, it's possible to recreate some famous Star Wars ships, create ships that look like animals, or even objects. Personally, I have easily spent 8 to 10 hours on just shipbuilding alone, and getting to build it all and having a ship that has all the benches and amenities you need is a convenience factor which I love and I get to do in space. Now, even with those high prices, there's still plenty of room for improvement, most notably with customization. While you can place modules in mostly whatever order, you have to rely on outside sources to view how the modules look inside, as there is no preview or slideshow for the interiors. Additionally, there is no internal customization at all, not even just a simple change in color. One of the biggest issues I've seen and have heard complained about is the fact that sometimes when building your ship in your own way, the inside will look like a maze with many ladders and it's simply unattractive. While I have found a way to minimize that, which is in the first video I made, which I'll link at the end, it should be much easier to manage the internals of the ship just as it is for the external. Another pain is that not all the parts are accessible in all shipyards. Some parts you have to go to a specific manufacturer to get them, and it's tedious. I understand not making it like that at the very beginning where we can get all the parts, but why can't I simply just buy the parts, make them unlockable in all the other shipyards after that? The last part of shipbuilding I think really needs to be added is ship blueprints. Making a ship can take hours, and if you're really focusing on it and making it your own, it can take longer. So losing all that hard work when you hit New Game Plus is quite tragic. A blueprint system would help to make the shipbuilding feel more complete. If you played Starfield without knowing that Bethesda was the company behind it, you would still know they made the game because of the bugs and AI. The AI systems are supposed to make the enemies act like real people, or make it more challenging, or make your companions actually useful. Instead, in this game, it seems that NPCs can't properly interact with the game physics without completely breaking the game. These NPCs and companions walk into walls or objects and clip through ceilings. Not to mention the scary zombies walking around the major cities that look like they all have high social anxiety staring right into your soul. They don't even react to you firing weapons or using your powers or your cool Starborn suit. They're all as lifeless as can be. The only way to get them to react is by actually hitting or shooting them. Apart from that, the NPCs lack routines like they've had in previous Bethesda titles, which gives them that lifelike appearance. No matter the time, the stores are always open and the shop owners never sleep or eat. As par for the course, the gunplay is not any better. Occasionally, the sights of your weapons will show you firing dead center mass for an enemy and nothing happens. Bullets just plainly do not register. Another issue is your sights being on an enemy and the bullet you shoot hits an object that is right in front of you despite that object not being in the line of sight. Not that Bethesda is known for its great gunplay prowess, but these issues should not exist given the frequency which you'll find yourself in gunfights. If you're thinking of a melee build with cool stealth and low armor, then forget about it. Melee is way too slow and clunky to work, and even with the highest stealth level, most enemies will detect you. A more viable build is a stealth pistol or a stealth shotgun, but even then, the terrain you'll be in will more than always play against stealth and give you right away. There are some features that are noticeably missing, some which Bethesda has had in their previous games. I'm going to read out a short list of missing features. The game launched without DLSS. Why is that? No FOV slider, no local maps, because who needs local maps? All they give you is just some localized grid system with nothing useful on it. No transmog to change your armor or clothes. The only thing you can really do is hide options for suits and helmets. There is no eat button. Now the eat button is not as useful, however, the eat button was also the use meds, use stim-pack, use something to heal you. And in this game, there are some challenges that require you to eat or drink a lot of items to level up that specific skill. So it makes sense that you would want to put an eat button. Now to be fair, some of these things have already been addressed by Bethesda, but these things should have been in the game from the get-go. There's no excuse for this. As well as these missing features, there's also a couple of big inconsistencies that really took me out of the game when I first saw them. First is the mission where you contact the colony spaceship from Earth that has been traveling in space for 200 years, and they are now stranded and need our help. Upon entering the ship, which has not been in contact with the modern world in the game, you begin to see items and computers in this 200-year-old ship from the modern world. One of the rewards for completing this quest is a gun prototype from modern day, the XM2311, a prototype of the 1911 from Old Earth. This is not the only place where Bethesda skipped out on an opportunity to include details and be lore specific. There's another mission where you visit a NASA launch tower on Earth where no one has been since 2199. 2199, according to the lore, is like the last time where people were leaving. Now, Starfield takes place during the year 2330. Of course, once you enter the launch station, you expect to see the items and technology from the past, right? You would be incorrect. Most of the items and technologies within the building, which has now been abandoned for more than 130 years, are modern day items and technologies. How is that possible? Has there been no innovation for over a century? Well, frankly, it isn't possible. It's just pure laziness. As we all may have predicted, the modding community has been hard at work to make amazing mods for us to use and improve the game. Mods that add some of those standard features which Starfield lacks, such as DLSS and the FOV slider. We can even see mods replacing items such as drinks in the game to real-life drinks. Also, mods that essentially add Star Wars into the game. Personally, I downloaded a few mods myself to make the game smoother. One mod increases the amount of XP enemies and missions give me to make leveling better and smoother. Another speeds up ladders, chairs, and airlock usage significantly. Now, if you are in the position now where I found myself before, where I was bored and did everything in the game, I would encourage you to go look at these mods and do a new playthrough with just the mods It really does change the gameplay and makes Starfield a way better experience. I want to say that while I have criticized a lot of Starfield in this review, I by no means think this is a bad game. But I just can't simply say, yes, it's a good game, go get it. Because the issues the game has are immersion breaking and boredom inducing. I only have over 150 hours, and I have that because I wanted to make sure to experience most of the game before making this review. Some of these issues seem lazy and half-baked ideas. The lack of attention of detail from a game company that is known for its environmental storytelling is shocking. The shame of it all is that this game had the potential to be Game of the Year, but the reality is that Starfield is just another Bethesda game with less bugs and none of the magic that we've grown accustomed to experiencing. I think it's time we stop expecting anything else from Bethesda. I want to thank you all who reached the end of the video. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, and subscribe as there's more to come. Take care, YouTube.